Good evening, Chris Lee and Graham Doty of Southeastern 16 here for SEC Baseball Friday night reaction. Got a lot of games to break down for you tonight. We are starting this, in case you are catching it on the rebound, at 9:05 Central. Here's what we have so far. We've had 3 doubleheaders. We've had several big individual games in the book, and we've had one huge game that you were all waiting for that I thought wasn't going to be played tonight a few minutes ago. Apparently it is going to be played tonight. And if we are finishing the podcast when that one is finishing, we might need some help there. I don't think that's going to be in the plans, but we'll see. That being LSU and Arkansas, which is supposed to start at 9:55 Central, so we may catch a few innings of that one. Here is what is in the books. Tennessee and Liam Doyle have beaten Vanderbilt 3-2 in Knoxville. You've got Auburn sweeping South Carolina, a doubleheader. Last night, the Tigers win 24-2. Today, they finish off South Carolina in a hastily called doubleheader. I say hastily called. They moved yesterday's game or tomorrow's game to today. Auburn wins by finals of 11-10 and 11-3 over South Carolina. The Gamecocks now 5 wins on the season. Auburn in prime hosting position, and then some. Kentucky has beaten Oklahoma 4-3 tonight, and I think a game that surprised me a little bit. We've got Ole Miss defeating Mississippi State in Starkville in Game 1. Game 2 is going as we speak. I believe Mississippi State has a 2-0 lead in the second or third of that one. Graham nodding yes. Third inning. Okay, great. Georgia beat Auburn. Georgia beat Alabama. Pardon me. Boy, didn't mean to say that. Georgia 19, Alabama 3 in Tuscaloosa in a 7-inning Game 1. Game 2 is going on as we speak. Florida is leading Texas 8-1 in the top of the 8th. Gators batting. Gators got 6 runs on on Texas in the blink of an eye to start that one. Missouri and A&M are getting close to finishing as we speak. I will check that one and just see if that's done. I think last I checked, A&M was up in the neighborhood of 6-3. And, I guess that's it. Just waiting on Arkansas, LSU now. That's a mouthful. Graham Doty, how you doing, my man? We got a lot of ball to talk.
We do. What a day. Very rarely do you get double headers on a Friday, and then very rarely do you get a top 5 showdown first pitch, 10 o'clock.
Yeah. What a nightmare. LSU's been playing some ball into the wee hours of the morning lately.
Yeah, they had the game, 2 weeks ago, finished at 1:30 in the morning, like that wild game.
Yeah.
And by the way, hey, everybody, sound the alarm. Mizzou has the bases loaded with nobody out.
No way. Okay, well, I may have to flip the old iPad over here, or the TV, better yet.
They trail by 3 runs if you're not keeping up with it.
Okay.
It's the night.
Let's see, where's that one? There we go. I'm going to flip to that one now. Okay, we were going to break all these down in a minute. We'll keep you posted on that. I think we'll go first maybe with Tennessee and Vanderbilt. Our man Sam Smith in the house for that one. But before we get started, reminders, follow our social media accounts. Super chats are always welcome. That'll be a sure way to get your question answered. Join the membership tier. We're going to launch a members-only video on Sunday night, a special recap of the weekend, and some extra stuff that we aren't going to be doing for free, just a little extra benefit for you guys out there and a way to help us keep the channel alive. And also, speaking of supporting us, help the folks who help the channel. Those folks include Cherubundi. I use a bunch of their stuff. You can see the tart cherry juice bottle. That is empty for a reason. I drink 1 or 2 of these every day. If you're traveling, you take a little concentrated packet. You can pour that into water. You can take the gummies. I think that's a lot of the same thing. You can take the melatonin gummies. Don't have those with me. Don't need to be taking those right now if we're going to live stream for an hour or 2. Anyway, pretty much anybody who's anybody in sports uses these. I'm talking NCAA tournament national champs, many, many things. here. 10 of the last 10 of the last 11 Super Bowl champions, 66 of the 67 Power 4 teams in the NCAA. They all use chair bundy. Use it for your recovery. If you'd like to run like I do, it is great for that. So anyway, chairbundy.com, promo code SE20. That'll get you 20% off your entire order. Help yourself, help us, do everybody some good there. All right, let's start in Knoxville, where that was a tremendously well-played game. Graham, I don't think you got to see much of it at all, maybe not any, being on the road. Here is the scene and what happened. Liam Doyle was fantastic. It felt like he was 0-2 on every hitter. Vanderbilt really didn't start hitting a lot of balls hard until late in the game, when it hit several balls hard. When Doyle developed a blister and the bullpen came in. But Doyle was so good before that, Tennessee was able to hang on for a 3-2 win. Hunter Ensley turned in I'm going to say 2 gems in center and another really nice play to end the game. He may have been the difference tonight. When Doyle got that blister late, Colin Barcy hit one to dead center that I thought was maybe going to be out. He was either going to maybe hit the top of the wall and bounce back or maybe catch some spin and go over. But Hunter Ensley was having none of that. Caught it before it left and made a catch to rob somebody of a double late in that one. Tennessee hangs on thanks to those two. For Vandy, J.D. Thompson was really good. Their bullpen was pretty good. But when you're facing Liam Doyle on Friday night, Graham, you better catch a break or two. And thanks to Hunter Ensley tonight, Vanderbilt was catching none of those. And Sam says Vandy couldn't catch up to Doyle's fastball. He's right about that. I think it was sitting pretty much around 98. He runs it high like he did. His secondary stuff was pretty good. I think he mostly throws a breaking pitch. He may have a change a little bit. But Liam Doyle, I'll tell you this. Liam Doyle, I think, tonight took the lead in the Pitcher of the Year race. You could make a case for Kyson Witherspoon. I think Doyle might have been the guy anywhere. But I think after tonight, he is probably going to be your clear-cut leader based on the way he pitched.
I think the difference between Doyle and anybody else is Doyle has been the most consistent of anybody, like from day one to where we are right now. And like the difference is, like, let's take Kyson Witherspoon. He's had 2 weeks counting tonight where he just wasn't what he normally is. And that's the difference. And then if you want to look at Dutton, like Dutton has been awesome the last month, but this is not what Dutton looked like at the beginning of the season. You know, it took a little bit of time for Dutton to reach this level. So I agree with you. I think Doyle, if he's not the Pitcher of the Year, like somebody was unbelievable the last 2 weeks of the season or in the tournament or something. So, yeah, I would not be surprised. This is just what he does. He's a fastball pitcher, just kind of powers it past everybody. It feels like he has double-digit strikeouts every time he touches the mound.
Yeah, Sam says, and he's right, they couldn't touch the fastball, said the approach was to push the pitch count up, and it didn't work. I would push back on that a little bit. You got him out in the 7th inning. They got him to 100 pitches, which that's the one flaw in Liam Doyle, right? He will get a little expensive with the pitch counts because he strikes so many guys out. See, I think you wanted to try to get into that bullpen a little bit and see what you could get to with those other guys because – you didn't want him in. In fact, I thought they probably should have lifted Doyle a batter earlier when he had the blood going everywhere with the blister. I just think it's so hard to pitch under those circumstances. And probably the hardest ball they hit off him all night. That's the one that Barcy darn near got out to dead center. That was, I think, right after the mound visit. And then after that, I don't think they messed around very longer. But I thought, look, opening night, if you cannot win, at least get into the other team's bullpen. And Vanderbilt did a little bit of that tonight. Although, Snead can come back later. Dylan Lloyd can come back later. But they did use a few pitches there. But that was a very well-played game. You had an outfield assist from Braden Holcomb throwing a runner out the plate. You had pretty good defense across the board. Just a fun game to watch from the jump.
2 questions. Since we touched on Doyle, first question, what do you think he projects as at the next level? We won't know for a while, but do you think he's a starter or is he a bullpen guy? And then the other question is Ensley. I feel like all that guy does is make insane catches in center field.
Yeah,
Dating back to
goodness.
Omaha last year. Is there a better defensive center fielder than him?
RJ Austin at Vandy's pretty good, but I'd say they're both pretty comparable. And I'd have to watch some other guys. Jace Laviolette is very talented, but he's also inconsistent. But I'd say, a list with those two guys, that they'd be at the top. I would think.
Sorry, I got.
And you asked me on the draft. I think you got to make him a starter. I mean, you're not going to pick him, and they brought this up on the broadcast tonight. You're not going to pick him. Oh my goodness, are you watching Missouri?
I just saw the score. They tied it.
Yeah, and still two guys on with nobody out in the eighth. Was that Caden Peer?
Sound the alarm, everybody. Hit the button.
Yeah.
Code red. Code red.
Michael Early looks a little nervous. Yeah, I think you've got to try him in the rotation. The thing is, there's two things I like about him. He throws strikes, and he's started to show he's pretty durable. And you can develop a third pitch or a fourth pitch, I'm guessing, and give it a shot. If not, then I think you backfit him to the pen. But I go rotation first. No question about it.
For Doyle?
Yes,
yeah.
Yes.
Sam kind of compared him to Burns. Remember Burns?
I could see that, yeah.
He said he thought Burns would be a reliever, but he's killing it as a starter in Double-A. I don't know. Like, it also depends on like where he gets drafted. Obviously, we don't know that, but like that's a big, big part of it.
He and Burns are both. Josh says Austin dropped the ball in center tonight. I didn't see that. I had to head out of the house for about 15 minutes during that one. So didn't know that, but he's normally a pretty lock it down guy.
Hold on, I gotta put Mizzou on my computer here.
I've got him on the big screen in front of me. I have a screen that I'm looking right at over the top of my monitor here, and then I've got Ole Miss and State on the iPad.
I just turned the Ole Miss State game off. The cameraman thought it was going to be a solo home run to center field. They totally lost track of the ball. It was caught like 20 feet from the wall. Okay, Mizzou, bases loaded, nobody out.
My goodness, who is this on the hill from Missouri? I mean, for Texas A&M. I'll look it up.
Does everybody kind of want to watch history together, or what do you want us to talk about?
This is, I think we got to talk about Missouri maybe getting a win here. I mean, that's Aiden. No, that's not Aiden Sims. Who is that? That's Caden Wilson. That's one of their better guys. Michael Early looks like he could throw up right now.
Yeah. Can you blame him?
Well, and look, Texas has still got another at bat. And Missouri's bullpen is not exactly lights out.
No. This is one of their better bats at the plate for Mizzou. All right, Josh, I promise we'll get to Texas.
Josh is laying in wait for Texas, isn't he?
He's been ringing the bell for Texas. I'll give him credit. He's been doing it for at least 4 weeks.
He has.
And everybody, how much of an RPI killer? A massive one.
Yeah. And look, Josh, the frauds in Austin is a little bit harsh. I'm going to call you out on that one. But there was probably a little bit of overachievement there. I get it, but I still think that's a very, very good team, if not an elite team. Oh, he wanted all of that one.
What count do you have? How far ahead are you or me?
I am looking at 1-2 with the bases loaded and nobody else. We're about to go to pitch 18 here of the inning.
I'm ahead of you.
Okay, well, don't tell me. Would that not be unbelievable? A&M just doing what it did early in the year, going all the places they won, and then losing an opener when you got to the best of your pitching staff available. Okay, there's a strikeout. So
this would be the most A&M thing ever if they drop this game. Oh, here we go.
you must be a half a minute ahead of me. Okay, let me see who this is in the batter's box.
Yeah,
oh,
Sam.
my goodness.
Let them know, Sam.
Oh, that's a disaster. Are they going to bring another one in? No. Okay, just two. Okay, if you're not watching, that's an infield ground ball. Defense was playing in for a play at the plate, which it got. The throw was terrible and 2 runs scored. Was that Caden Kent? Yeah. And in fairness, that ball was hit pretty hard, and he got it on, I'm not going to say the in-between hop, but you make that play if you're an SEC shortstop.
Yeah, because it's a force out at home. A good throw.
They've scored 5 runs in the 9th, and they're not done. We will talk about Eric Guevarra and a lot of other guys. We're kind of transfixed by Missouri having a shot to win a game here.
They were close last week. Like, they were close against Georgia. We'll see what they got in bullpen-wise. I feel like everybody's holding their breath. Imagine if you were a Mizzou fan.
While we wait, let me go through. Oh, that was an awful swing. Let's see. Auburn, congratulations to Auburn on your suite. Which Auburn player is SEC Player of the Week? Yeah, that's going to be a conversation. Let's see.
Caleb Falk.
Sam, you're the one that made this happen. I'm just going to call Sam out here because Sam brought this up as we were going on, and I think that sparked a rally. And Auburn's talking national seed. Guess what? You got every right to.
Yeah.
I'm going to look up RPIs at Warren Nolan because they're usually updated within a few minutes. And I bet you Auburn is no worse than 3. Yep, 3 is where Auburn is.
Eyes on Mizzou.
Okay. Is that a hint? Oh, my goodness. What is this? Wow. Is that Bear Harrison? Because Bear's having a rough night behind the dish right now.
Uh-oh. Here we go. Send him.
Yeah, in case you're not watching Missouri, the Tigers have just stormed from behind to take a 9-6 lead in the 9th.
All right, hold on. Let me look at the chat here. We got all kinds of good stuff.
They didn't send him, which was probably smart because that was caught in pretty shallow.
But
plus you
need all the help you can get. Just send him.
Yeah, well, the way A&M's throwing the ball all over the backstop, you may not need a sac fly.
All right. First of all, to answer what you put up on the screen, I'd kind of be surprised at this point if Auburn isn't a national seed. I don't think it really matters what happens next week.
Yeah, Auburn is now 16-11. That's going to get Auburn a host. Number 2, excuse me. Number 2 strength of schedule, 13-10 in quad 1, 6-1 in quad 2. I mean, that's 19 quad 1 and 2 wins.
Other good stuff on LSU, Caleb Falk, honest take of Anderson, Ianson duo. Ianson has some hate early in the SEC, but what team has a 1-2 starter to have two dominant complete games?
That's a good question.
I mean, that's probably the best duo, right, in the SEC.
Yeah.
Maybe Tennessee, but like to me, Doyle is so much better than Marcus Phillips.
When did Einstein get early hate in the SEC? I've forgotten this.
I don't remember that part. Yeah, you'll
I mean,
have
I
to.
don't think Einstein was awful at any stretch. I just think you got a year where there's a lot of great starting pitchers in this league. Great and durable. More than I've seen in a long time.
Another one from Falk. Any concerns about the Longhorns after the start? Maybe health. Pitching hadn't looked the same the past two outings.
Yeah, I think you got to be a little concerned. I want to see how they respond tomorrow, but I mean, to make up that pitching staff is just very different without Jared Spencer at your top.
Mm-hmm. In my later, did y'all not touch on LSU Arkansas? Well, they haven't played yet.
Right. We're still 30 minutes out from that. Super chat from our man Quinn. My goodness, Quinn. Okay. A&M is out of it with a 9-6 lead going to the ninth. I'm going to see who's up in that part of the order. Yeah, huge sweep, 16 conference wins. I think Auburn could lose all of its remaining games and still get a hosting spot. I think the metrics are that strong. You don't want to find that out, but certainly you get one win at Ole Miss, and you're going to be hosting. You get two. I don't know how anyone could deny them a national seed, and maybe with one. Heck, maybe where they are. Who knows?
Yeah. So speaking of Auburn, Deacon J, can we talk about Chris Rembert's chances to win Freshman of the Year? Didn't we touch on this last night? So
yeah.
The difference in like last night and today, like they played the doubleheader today, so like you got to see more of what he could do. So
yeah.
What helps him is like he's going to play in the showcase series the rest of the way. Not so much that this was a showcase weekend because South Carolina's fallen off, but his stages are going to be pretty big. They got Ole Miss next week, which will be a ranked matchup depending on what happens for Ole Miss and Starkville. So, I mean, he's got a chance. If he does what he did in this 3-game series against South Carolina, like he will heavily be in the mix. I mean, it's him or Curiel with LSU. So,
yeah.
I mean, I don't think they would do the thing. I mean, I just think the odds are pretty good. It'll be one of those two.
Chase
South Carolina next week.
Yeah, and Chase Fralick might be a sleeper because he's catching, right? And he's not hitting as well as those guys, but he's having a heck of a year. Enough to where they could put Ike Irish in right field. And I get that Irish's shoulder and whatever else might have played in there, but that also speaks to trust. But I'll tell you what, Graham, tell me if I'm wrong. I don't remember a more talented freshman class in terms of the hitting. And look, they got arms too. Alvarez is pretty talented. The production has dropped off lately, but I've seen him pitch. The kid's got great stuff. And same with Chatterton, who gave them an open today. It wasn't great, but we've seen really good stuff out of him. Auburn's freshman class, and I don't know who else would be on the list. I'm sure I'm forgetting some really good ones. But Auburn's freshman class is one of the best I've seen in recent memory.
Hard to argue. Now, Tennessee's got some dudes this year that'll be studs down the road, but yeah, Auburn is right there. One thing I'll say about Auburn, kind of seems like Bub Terrell kind of hit a wall a little bit the past couple of weeks. So I don't know if he needs like a reset button. He hasn't been playing as much as opposed to what he's been. So that's something to watch. But the difference is Rembert is like soaring right now, and then Fralick has just been so consistent. There's not a lot. It's not a lot of roller coaster journey with Fralick.
Yeah. And somebody says Derek Curiel would like a word. I think Curiel is still my pick right now. But I could change. I'd have to look at SEC only stats. I mean, Curiel, I mean, the guy went, 40 games before he didn't reach base to start his college career? That is incredible. Josh says Tennessee's freshmen have underachieved. I don't really agree with that. You don't expect freshmen to come in and be studs right away for the most part, which is what is making what Auburn's are doing very special. Like if a freshman comes in, and especially a pitcher, and just doesn't look overmatched, a lot of times you've got something.
Agreed. I don't know. I got eyes on Mizzou. They got 2 outs.
One down.
All right. As I touched on Bub Terrell, of course he hits a home run today. Of course he has 5 RBIs today.
Well, that doesn't mean you were wrong.
Well, I'm looking at him. He's got 3 hits in SEC play the last 3 weeks prior to this weekend.
Oh, that's a fly out. Okay. 1 out to go. Who is closing for Missouri here?
Can you honestly
do you have a closer when you never win games?
Yeah. You got ahead of me all of a sudden. I don't know how that happened.
Let's see. That is.
Hey,
that's Xavier. That's Xavier Lovett.
In all seriousness, like, I am happy for Carrick Jackson.
I am
like,
too.
Guys, like, as somebody that's been in minor league baseball and has been on teams that didn't win a lot, like, when you're in the middle of it, like, it's hard to describe, like, how bad it can get. And for them to get a little bit of taste of victory, like, they need to enjoy this one. If they dogpile, like, I wouldn't, not saying that they would, but if they did it, or if they act like they won the Super Bowl, I don't blame them.
If Missouri would have dogpile with Missouri's luck, they'd get someone hurt. Okay, so we got Bear Harrison against Lovett here for the last out potentially. Scorches it to right. He's going, diving play, ball game. Missouri's got to win. How about that?
Good for Mizzou. Look at the bullpen. They're hopping over the bullpen, rushing the field.
Well, hey, congratulations to Carrick Jackson. I mean, Missouri has been a punchline all year. I don't – nobody should take joy in the season they've had and making fun of that. It's a tough game. He's got a tough job, and I'm happy for those kids. I'll tell you what, though. That is devastating potentially for A&M.
It is.
Because you've got Georgia next week on the road.
Yeah. But what's Mizzou's RPI? Do we know? Like, it's got to be
155-ish.
Okay.
156 coming into tonight. A&M is, or was, let's see, 37 as of a couple of minutes ago. Warren Nolan usually updates pretty quickly. So I will see where that goes.
And who knows?
My guess is they dropped to maybe 43, 44.
Golly, I just turned on the Ole Miss game.
Maybe not quite that many, but
Evan Sierra is in the 7th inning, and he's like at 68 pitches.
They're already in the 7th?
They're about to be.
I swear it felt like they were in the 2nd inning when we started this. That is a quick ball game.
Well, it's because Sierra they're just swinging at everything he's tossing up there right now.
Yes, Deacon. A&M just lost at home to Missouri.
Quad 4? That would be quad 4, right?
Yes, it would absolutely be quad 4. And let me see how many of those A&M had. It had 2 of those heading into tonight. That'll be a third. Well, now I can switch back to Florida, Texas. Okay, let's hit a couple other games, and then we'll check the old RPI, see where it goes. By the way, Florida hitting in the ninth, top of the ninth, leading Texas 8-2. Other stuff that happened earlier. Let's talk Auburn sweeping South Carolina. Just power everywhere from that lineup. They scored, what was it, 46 runs this weekend? In what, like?
Yeah, but what, half of those are game one, right?
22 offensive innings? Yeah, but I mean, they scored 11 in game 2 and 11 in game 3. The pitching wasn't great if you want to pit nits, but I mean, the starting wasn't. The bullpen was pretty good. Who was it? Dylan Watts gave them 3 2/3 scoreless. Was probably the big. Well, Griffin Graves was really good too, and Myers was good. See, I think that's the thing about Auburn. I feel like that bullpen has pitched really, really, really well lately. I don't think anybody's going to talk about it because they don't have a Volantis or a Snead or just some fire-breathing dragon in the back of the pen. They just got a bunch of old guys who know how to pitch. So some of those guys have interesting arm angles. I think that's why Auburn gets slept on a little bit, because it is not superstar power outside of Dutton. But it's a bunch of dudes who are old and have taken the ball, hundreds of times combined in their career.
That's why coaches value experience, and just veteran leadership, because it certainly matters.
Hey, I didn't mean to forget this. SC Scout guy has been one of our long-timers here. I think this guy's I think he's been with us since the first year of the channel. He has been one of our loyalists. Gets slaughtered by Auburn, who South Carolina historically owns, and Mary doesn't even act like he cares. Yeah, there's a lot going on there.
To put it mildly.
Yeah. Can you take the series at Ole Miss next weekend? Sure.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I want to see what happens. So Ole Miss, Mississippi State, they made the decision. They're playing a doubleheader today, nothing tomorrow, game 3 on Sunday. So I kind of want to see how it shakes out for Ole Miss. But, yeah, if Auburn takes 2 or 3 next weekend, I wouldn't be surprised. They're rolling right now.
That's not a scenario you see very much.
What?
The one you just unpacked there.
The doubleheader on Friday, nothing on Saturday, game on Sunday? Yeah.
Correct.
Well, it helps that, obviously Ole Miss and State are super close, so you don't really have to worry about, hopping on a plane or anything.
Game 2, I think, helps the team with the deeper bullpen probably.
Well, Ole Miss burned Mason
Yeah.
in game 1. I think he threw 36 pitches, something like that.
Yeah.
And remember, no more Braden Jones, so we'll see what Ole Miss does pitching-wise the rest of this game. They still got
McCausland closed, correct?
Yeah, he wrapped up game 1. And Maddox is still out there. Maddox, 81 pitches right now.
Okay. You know who we have not hit is Kentucky. That was a big win. I thought Kentucky would take the series. I thought it would come.
What makes you want to lean them?
I just think after I like them in game 3. The pitching matchup favors them as good as they've been in Sundays. And I think, Nick McKay's pretty good too. Crossland's been on fire. I just thought home field they'd get it, but I thought it would be lose the first, take the last couple. But Kyson Witherspoon tonight looked he was not nearly as sharp when I saw him as I'd seen him in past weeks.
5 innings, 6 hits, 4 runs, 4 strikeouts.
Yeah.
So the way Oklahoma's built, if they don't get in game one, like there's so much pressure on them. Games 2 and 3. Now Crossland has had moments. Malachi Witherspoon has just been so inconsistent.
Been very hittable. That's his problem. He leaves too much up. I mean, Cole Hage got a home run for Kentucky. I think their bullpen tonight was the thing. Gregerson closed with a scoreless, and Jackson Nove, who feels like he's been there a minute, was 3 1/3 scoreless. Nate Harris has been kind of more of an opener than a starter, but feels like he's been going a little bit longer lately, which is a help. And especially when Cleaver can go deep into games and McKay can too. So they probably could afford to go to some of those guys tonight, knowing we got guys that can cover a lot of innings in the next 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's a good bounce back, though, for Kentucky. Like, give them credit. Like, last weekend did not go well.
No. Quinn points out after Texas swept Auburn, won 3 straight series, and won 7 of 9 SEC series. So the ones you didn't win were Texas, and was it who was the other one?
For Auburn, Georgia, in Athens.
Yeah, and that was in Athens. And they were competitive in that one, weren't they?
I mean,
well, for a minute they were.
Yeah, not that competitive. That was early Georgia, though.
Yeah. Hey, how about road Georgia tonight?
I know that
6 home runs. Sorry. I mean, and Jay kind of called it when we were looking at the dimensions. Like, they got a lot of right-handed power, and it's a shorter porch there. Now, I will tell you this. Alabama's pitching setup for game 1 is not great. Faye is more of an opener than a starter. And once they started getting clocked, they went to the worst end of their bullpen and saved their dudes for like Osmer and Myers for later in the weekend, which is smart against Georgia. I mean, I would not be surprised if Alabama comes back and wins the last 2 even after getting clocked tonight.
What makes you say that?
Pitching. I mean, I say that Leighton Finley's been good for Georgia lately. And, gosh, who's Georgia going in the 2 right now? Is it Smith? Well, I've got the pitching matchups in front. They're going TBA, but I feel like they've been going Colton Smith. Finley's a good game 3 guy. We don't talk about him much. But I think Adams and Quick right now are pretty tough.
They kind of stopped. They kind of stopped doing the Goldstein stuff.
Yeah, he just can't stay healthy.
Who would win, Missouri or the Braves?
Oh, come on. I haven't even checked the Braves score tonight. That tells you how locked in I've been on this. Yeah, Auburn, I'm trying to think if Auburn's even lost. I think Auburn even mopped up in the out-of-conference. Yeah, it did. It won all of its series pre-conference. Only 2 you lost or maybe in the 2 toughest buildings to play in this year.
Yeah. Now, their non-con wasn't what a lot of other people's were.
It wasn't bad.
Well, yeah. I mean, that's why they're aren't they number 1 strength of schedule or 2?
They're 2 now. I'm going to see Florida's now. No, I'm sorry, not Florida's not 1. Who's 1 now? Auburn's 2, Vanderbilt is 3. And by the way, Georgia's got the number 1 non-conference RPI. Did not know that. Auburn had the 66 out of conference strength of schedule. And again, they played a lot of pretty good teams in midweeks, which has helped that.
Yeah, they played Troy.
Texas Tech is number 1 strength of schedule. I don't know how, but it is.
Texas Tech does? Interesting.
Yeah.
Jeez. I'm just watching this Ole Miss game. 74 pitches.
He's just getting and throwing, isn't he?
Yeah.
The Connor Fennell model?
Yeah, he's not that fast. He's fast, but he's not Connor Fennell fast.
By the way, Austin Foley, about another home run today. 16.
Yeah. He's been incredible.
That is absolutely like if we had an award for out of nowhere guy.
It's him. Like, I really don't know who else it'll be. That's a guy who had 18 at bats last year.
He's almost got that many home runs. He's got 16 now.
I'm gonna let you
SC
take this.
Scout guy. Well, look. I don't think it looks good. Is that a good way to put it?
Fair.
Yeah. That one is complicated. Yeah, I'll just leave it there.
So what's important to know about that? The athletic department released that statement this week. Nothing will be announced one way or the other during the season. So whenever their season comes to a close, which is probably going to be in 3 weeks in Hoover, that's when we'll know something definitive.
Would it be fair to say I think there's almost no chance he's back next year? I mean, and this is based on how do we? Yeah, I think it just trust us on that one. Is that a good way to put it?
Yeah.
I would be shocked.
But I guess if you're a South Carolina fan, I guess you just kind of have to sit tight right now for the next 3 weeks.
Yeah.
It is 3 weeks, right? Or is it less than 3 weeks?
Well, it's
2.5 weeks.
This time next week will be the middle game of the last series, but this time in 2 weeks, you know somebody could be out of the tournament. Most teams will be out of the tournament. So South Carolina's looking at another week and a half of baseball, I think.
Mm-hmm. Because right now they would be seed number 15.
How cooked is Missouri's Sam? I'm hoping you saw the news tonight because you got one. You finally got the win. Oh, I meant to check A&M's RPI after all this. $44, Graham. That is about as on the bubble as it comes. Because now you've got to win the next two.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got Georgia and Athens. Georgia's going to be gunning for a national seed. Now, I think they match up okay with Georgia in that one. I really do.
Gig and Bart, man. I'm sorry, Gig and Bart. Thanks for
Bart. Is Bart here? Bart, we are sorry. We're rooting for you guys to get in the tournament. But boy, that was not the step you wanted tonight. Sam says it doesn't matter. Hey, 1-0. You're not going to have you can win one game and people will remember it. You go over and everyone's going to remember it.
Yeah. You're talking Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
When they went 0-16.
Yeah. Well, and it was a total implosion. That was I could not believe what I was watching defensively from them.
Hey, props to you though for being here.
Yeah. Hey, Bart is a stand-up guy, man. He shows up.
I'll do my best if Texas Rocks hops in the chat.
Yeah. They've been a little quiet. I haven't seen Randy. I bet will stop in. Randy always shows.
Right, here we go. Just when I was feeling bad, little brother hooks us up.
There's Randy. Oh, so Bart, I'm sorry. I'm not laughing at you. I'm really not. Yeah, Randy will take his medicine tonight. Florida's about to finish this off. Who is that closing for them?
Hold on, let me pull it up. I got the Ole Miss game on.
Is that McNeely?
It's not Clemente. They've been going to Clemente.
Well, they went Barlow early, which is a mixed bag of stuff. See, I really like the way they've managed their pitching. Like they are really. No, it's Christian Rodriguez. Sorry, I thought that was 9. That's 8. You've got to love having Peterson and Aiden King to go. And you've got to really love getting a couple of effective innings tonight out of Coppola.
Yeah.
I think I saw Matthew Jenkins is coming back.
Is he? I haven't looked
Yeah.
at the injury report today, but that's what they need. Like if they start getting guys back healthy, like they've been one of the most beat up teams of anybody in the league. If they start getting dudes healthy, like this is kind of what we saw from them a season ago. They just peaked at the right time.
Okay, I'm going to throw something at you. And I said this not believing it, okay? But I just threw it out there because it's a mathematical possibility. And I really threw it out there more to just kind of illustrate this is the league you're in. And Florida just finished off Texas. Florida's RPI was 18 heading into tonight. I'm guessing Florida's gonna jump a couple more spots. If Florida were to win this series, okay, it is now 12-13. If Florida can somehow get 4 out of its last 5, Graham, I mean that's going to be 16-13. That's going to be an RPI that's probably around 9 or 10. I mean, Florida hosting is nowhere on anybody's radar, and I don't think it's going to happen. But that is a little mind-bending at this point.
Would they get sent to Tallahassee?
No, I mean not if they host.
I don't think they'll host.
I don't think they will either, but it is on the table. What was the number that we had coming into tonight? They had to get to, oh gosh. Florida had to win 5 of its final 6 to get a top 8 RPI. 3 of its final 6 to get a top 16 RPI. So that's now 2 to get with 5. Now, I mean, I say that you can always play your way in or out in the SEC tournament. We're just talking regular season, but I mean, I just think that is fascinating. Caleb asked stopper of the year. That's got to be Volantis, right?
I think so, but like, how much would you consider Osmer at Bama?
Oh, I'd take Volantis without hesitation.
I would too, but the numbers, like the saves, really in particular, are going to be the difference there.
Yeah, Osmer's a little bit smoke and mirrors, and it started to catch up to him a bit. Volantis is just lights out, like good luck to you, like Mariano Rivera of college baseball type of guy. Except instead of going 1, he'll go a couple.
Yeah.
Who have we not talked about tonight?
Let me look.
We haven't hit on some of these in detail. We just touched on A&M Missouri at the end when that became evident that was going in a direction we didn't anticipate. I think we've touched on everyone. How did Missouri put this thing together at the end? I mean, that one just really snuck up on us. Like that was not even on our radar as you and I were backstage before we started the show.
They were down by 3 runs in the 9th, I think. and then they scored 5.
By the way, I think we're finally going to get first pitch in Arkansas LSU here. I'm turning it over to see if it actually comes to fruition. Here we go.
We got another super chat from Quinn.
Yeah, I mean, your catcher right now is Rylan Galvin. I think, barring a slump, but Freilic's been really good. I mean, I'm trying to think who would be on the short list of guys if you're naming a couple of all SEC teams. Ryder Helfrich be on there? Yeah, he'd be on there. Heyman.
What about Foley with what he's been doing?
Yeah, I don't even think of him because it just was so out of the blue. But yeah,
he's got the offensive numbers, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, he honestly plays catcher out of necessity. I mean, there's really one other one on the roster, like Smithwick doesn't really catch much anymore.
Yeah.
And then they brought in Reuter from BYU.
I'm a big Easton Carmichael guy too.
Yeah, he's the one that nobody talks about.
He got a bomb tonight too, by the way.
Did he? Well, he just nobody in our league watched them last year because you didn't really have to, and so he was an All-American last year, and then this year he's just kind of done what he always does.
Yeah. I mean, that dude's probably a big league catcher, I would think.
Maybe. Looks like Ole Miss is going to make a change.
Yeah, I mean, Quinn, the Freilich, that it's. I think Galvan would have to slump a bit to end the year. But I mean that could be. Yeah, he's still. I'm looking at some stuff here. He's still considerably ahead in terms of offensive production. But he's had a heck of it. I mean, like I bet you when they start naming freshman All-American catchers, I don't know what the rest of the country looks like, but it feels like Chase Freilich would, born a real stud somewhere else. Who's does Georgia Tech got one? Who's their guy? But he's not a catcher, though, right? Who am I thinking of?
At Georgia Tech?
Yeah. Drew Burris? I think he's an outfielder.
Yeah, he's not a catcher.
Yeah, I'm thinking a freshman, but yeah, like you got to feel great about where your program's headed with those guys.
Mm-hmm. We got another super chat.
Where did I go? Keep Aiden in Tuscaloosa. All right. Was at the Auburn game, and Neri post-game talked and had a heart-to-heart with Sam-Dutton. Dutton thanked him, showed a bit of class. And like I've never thought poorly of Paul Maneri. It's not going well. I think there's a lot going on there. I've always enjoyed having him in the game. Mm-hmm. Don't know him.
Yeah, he that's one of the interviews that you missed when we had him, Chris. But like to me, what speaks volumes about a guy, like how many negative things have you heard from LSU media or anybody involved with LSU just about the man and the character of Paul Maneri? Like you don't hear any of that. Now I know it's been 3 years since he's been there, but like he still has a house in Baton Rouge. So yeah, he's very well thought of. He's very well respected, but again, as Josh just said, it's a scoreboard business. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters.
Arkansas has just led off the game with a double here. Is that Charles Davalon? Took it the other way, got it right under Braswell's glove down the line. Yeah, that's
See,
Charles Davalon.
seeing
That
if I
guy's a
missed him.
hitter. He's kind of risen up draft boards too, by the way. I don't think he's a first rounder, but he might be second or third.
Well, yeah, with the season that he's had, you can understand why. Here's another South Carolina. Whole fan base wants Landon Powell to be the next head coach. He's won 2 division national championships at North Greenville. He's played for 4. He's won 2.
Yeah.
But he's not sure how that jump from Division II to the SEC would be. I understand, and that's definitely fair, but the difference is Landon Powell is from South Carolina. He's very well connected, and he was an awesome player back in the day at South Carolina.
Yeah, I've got my best friend is in compliance in that league, and every time baseball comes up, he just talks about how much they dominate that league. What is it, North Greenville?
North Greenville.
Yeah.
I just think he's too good. Like, somebody will take a chance on him at some point at the Division I level.
Yeah, I mean, he's been a big league catcher. I mean, I'm a little surprised at this point he's not gotten a bigger job than that. I mean,
but see, like,
he's got to be over 40 now, right?
Yeah, but
yeah,
that's a different situation. Like, he was super successful professionally. He's probably been smart with his money. Greenville is an awesome city, and like he's winning. So why would you rush to go somewhere? Like, the head coach at Tampa, who's been at Tampa, which is a great program in Division II, like, he's been there for decades, and it's because like he's so well taken care of.
Quinn says you want a top 4 seed in the SEC tournament. Yeah, let's check in on that a minute. On the standings, by the way, I want to see how far Florida rose tonight. Your RPI, by the way, is we're sitting as of 10:02 Saturday night Central. In case you're listening on the replay, Georgia, Texas, Auburn, Arkansas, Vandy. So your top 5, all SEC. Oregon State, not sure how they're that high, but they are. Then Florida State, Clemson, LSU, and North Carolina, your top 10. Tennessee 12, Alabama 13, Ole Miss 16, Florida 17. I thought Florida might jump another spot or two and maybe vault Ole Miss. I mean, it doesn't matter. It's that close and lots of ball to play. Kentucky's back inside the top 40 after tonight. A&M is now 46. It's dropped a couple more spots as other results have rolled in. And here's the problem with A&M now too, Graham. Beating Missouri, even if it wins the next 2, like, that is just, it's just keeping it from getting worse.
Yeah. Well, their RPI probably won't jump too much, would it?
No, they may fall, and if you lose, it really tanks, is my point. I mean, it's sort of damage control. Maybe dropping, 2 spots instead of another 6.
Yeah.
Oh, somebody cover first base. I'm watching LSU here. Arkansas's got men on the corners with 1 out.
Somebody asked you a question about your Bravos. Super chat.
I didn't see it tonight. I do not panic in early May. Whatever happened, I just don't panic in early May. We've still got Strider out, Acuna out.
Braves are still 200-500. How do we make it to football season after Omaha?
Well, I mean, look, I very distinctly remember in 2021, the one Braves game I went to that year was in Atlanta. It was the first game after the break. We went down to see the Braves and the Rays. And Atlanta, I believe, was still a couple games under 500. Getting the stands first inning here, we've traded for Jock Peterson, which was one of the first dominoes in a lot of moves that Alex Anthopoulos made that year. You saw how that ended. So I've seen some stuff. I'm not panicked. We get Strider back. We get Acuna back. Now, I don't expect Acuna to be vintage MVP Acuna, He's probably going to be more look like 2021 Acuna, but it'll be an upgrade. And Strider, if he can stay healthy, will be a huge upgrade. Austin Riley's having a great year.
Mississippi native.
Yep. Was going to go to Mississippi State. Committed there.
He would have killed it there too.
I'd like to make a team of SEC commits that never went to the SEC.
There'd be a lot of good ones. You'd have a lot of guys from LSU, Vandy, Ole Miss State. You'd have a lot of those.
Gunnar Henderson was committed to Ole Miss, correct?
Let me look. It sounds familiar.
Am I dreaming that?
Ole Miss has had so many that it's kind of hard to keep track. By the way, they're asking who Auburn needs to lose to help out with the hosting situation. Henderson, by the way, was committed to Auburn.
Who Auburn needs to say that again? Who Auburn needs to lose?
Yeah. So real quick,
I mean,
the Henderson was committed to Auburn, not Ole Miss.
Oh, Auburn. Okay, I knew it was an SEC school. I thought it was Ole Miss.
Now the question is, who does Auburn need to lose in order to help them for the national seed?
Oh, that's hard to answer. I mean, they're right there with Vanderbilt. Their numbers are very similar. Strength of schedule, RPI, all those things, conference record. That's one. I think LSU and Tennessee have got some RPI ground to make up. Like, I will be interested to see how the committee, if LSU and Tennessee both end playing okay, but don't have the metrics of Auburn, how does the committee sort through that? Does it say Auburn's resume is clearly better? Does it say we just think Tennessee and LSU are better teams? Because fair or not, perception is going to be that. I know that's probably unfair because Auburn swept LSU, and I get it. That's not lost on me. I'm just saying those are brands and those were teams that were talked about on that very short list of teams that were going to be national title contenders before the season, who've had good seasons, and that kind of perception I think is difficult to overcome potentially. But I don't know. I could be wrong. They may just say, hey, your RPI, your strength of schedule, all your metrics are fantastic. We're going to reward you for that instead of the name on the jersey.
Also, I'm sorry. I thought they were talking about national seeds.
I'm sorry. SEC tournament. Well, and honestly, I think we answered the more important question. I don't think SEC tournament seeding. Well, I take that back. You would like to be top 4, so you're playing 3 games max, right? So right now, Texas is still in the driver's seat, 19-6. Arkansas is number 2, 17-7. Georgia and LSU, 16-9, 15-9. Tennessee's a game behind Auburn. Auburn, of course, will get the tiebreaker. I think that's likely your list. Now, Ole Miss, if it went well, Ole Miss could be in there. If Ole Miss can finish strong in Starkville, and then get Auburn next weekend, that would be another team. Mm-hmm. And technically Vanderbilt too, if it can get a game or two in Knoxville, and then maybe sweep Kentucky next week. That's a long list. That's how this league is.
And guys, here's the secret. A lot of these head coaches will never say this publicly, but most head coaches, or majority of them, I should say, like, they could care less about the SEC tournament, Yeah.
I mean, South Carolina, when Ray Tanner was there, would just go and lay an egg about every other year. Lose 2 games, go home, then go and win a natty. Auburn gets most help if Arkansas could beat LSU. I think he's right about that because I think Auburn is going to have, well, let's see. Yeah, because Auburn's got 16, LSU's got 17, but Auburn's played 3 more games. And Arkansas is at home next week. And I would just say you probably just concede Texas and Arkansas, especially Texas. Well, I mean, you couldn't edge Texas out anyway, because even if Texas lost out, Texas gets the tiebreaker there, unless it's a 3-way. Georgia next weekend has got, who do we say, A&M?
Georgia, yeah, they do.
And 2 more with Alabama this weekend. What? By the way, let's check in on that one. Because Georgia won the first one, they're going away. I told Alabama's up 6-2 in the second. We're in inning 5. And let me see how Riley Quick is doing. Yeah, Quick's throwing pretty well. 4 1/3, 2 runs, 7 Ks. Which, when you're facing Georgia, you'll take that.
Also, everybody in the chat, you can either super chat us or tell us what you want to talk about. But right now, all the super chats are Auburn Tiger fans.
They are. We have had a huge influx of Auburn baseball, which I didn't see coming, but I welcome it. We had a huge Auburn basketball audience this year. I think there's some carryover here. We need more. We need more Alabama baseball. We need more Georgia. We need more of a lot of teams, honestly. We got a pretty good Tennessee presence, pretty good Texas presence, pretty good A&M. Auburn's picked up considerably, got some LSU.
Boy, right now,
Win one next week. You're hosting Super Regional. See, I think you're probably right about that.
Mm-hmm. Boy, Sierra is dealing right now for Mississippi State.
Yeah, I believe Auburn now has clinched in the regular season, according to Board's World. I think Auburn has now more than likely clinched a top 8 national seed regardless. Again, SEC tournament could change that, but the teams that are really close to locking up a top 8 RPI-wise are Texas. I think Georgia might have already done that. Arkansas with the win gets it. Vanderbilt 1 to 2 wins away. And Auburn. Everybody else has got a little bit more to chase. Who just got hit in the Ole Miss game? Someone got hit on the hand. Sierra?
Yeah.
You're kidding me.
The program record for Mississippi State is 17 by Chris Stratton against LSU. I saw Stratton pitch in high school.
Or his hand. Sorry. Where did Stratton go to high school?
He's from Tupelo.
He's still kicking around the majors, isn't he?
I think he was a Giant the last I looked.
Was that Luke Hill?
This might be the pitcher of the week. Unless something crazy happens tomorrow.
And they've been so bad. Out of their 2 and 3 guys in their bullpen. Somebody wants me in Plainsboro Park. I would love to get there. I really would. That is a beautiful looking ballpark. It's one I've never been to. One day I will. Josh asking Tennessee Vandy tomorrow. That one's going to be interesting. Because I think on the Tennessee side, Marcus Phillips, can be really, really outstanding in some starts. But Vanderbilt can do the one thing that kills them, and that's run. Now, they didn't do much of that tonight, a lot of that because they didn't have guys on base. But I think that for Vanderbilt, Cody Bowker has got really good stuff. It really moves. It's not like Liam Doyle overpowering, but he's got a few pitches. But he has struggled lately, especially on the road. And I'm wondering if he's hitting a little bit of a wall. But he's interesting when it works. Both those guys are interesting when it works. I think Vanderbilt's in better shape in the bullpen. Didn't throw Sawyer Hawks, who's probably their best arm. And then, of course, you got Connor Fennell on Sunday. So I think the pitching edge probably tilts to Vanderbilt for the rest of the series, if you include bullpens and game 3 starters. But, Bowker could also go out and give up, 4 or 5 in the first 2 innings, and Phillips is capable of dealing. So it'll be interesting. And Phillips has been locked in. It's just the runner's issue. So
They left Sierra in. You might be ahead of me now.
Keep Aiden in Tuscaloosa. Change my name. I need to know who you are, Aiden. Give us your aliases here. What series pitch count now?
99.
Okay. I would have to think that's a season high. So I looked down, and Cade Anderson got out of the first, and he was in a heap of trouble. So I didn't see how that happened. Okay, so we had some debate at number 1. I don't know, nationally, Arkansas is 7. But if Arkansas comes out with, let's say, Root dealing like a game 1 ace, and then the Wood-Gackle combo is pretty good, that's a lot of ifs. But, who is more poised to win a national title than them if that happens? And look, that may be the dumbest. LSU may bomb both of them. That'll be the dumbest thing I ever said. It won't have a 24-hour shelf life. But I'm just asking because I was intrigued by what they did at Texas last week.
When do you want to dive in to who has a realistic chance to win it all? Because I think this year it's more wide open than previous seasons.
Oh, I do too. And I'll give you one way off the radar. But are you a little intrigued by Florida right now?
Only because they're getting healthy.
Well, I wouldn't say only because the pitching, man, King and Peterson are major league arms. The bullpen's getting healthier. They've done a very underrated job. Like, we don't spend a lot of time talking about Florida's offense, but man, they are putting up runs in bunches lately.
Lawson's good. I know we didn't mention him earlier when we were touching on really good SEC freshmen, but boy, he's a stud. And then like their offense, they're starting to figure things out.
Auburn's odds are plus 3,000. Yeah, that's Auburn. Auburn could do it, man. Butch has gotten a few Auburn teams out there, and I think his pitching is set up better this year than it's been some of the years he's been.
Yeah. I don't know. It seems like previous years, they have a dude on Friday for game 1, like Casey Mize. Who's the other one I'm going blank on? It was the first round.
Oh, it was the guy right before him. Pitched in the bit. I can picture the kid too.
Is it Tanner?
Yeah, Tanner something.
So
Tanner Bauman?
No, it's not. It's not Bauman.
Who is that? Who's Tanner Bauman?
Tanner Mearns.
Tanner Burns, that's who it is.
Yeah.
Tanner Bauman is
So
an Auburn guy, but he's there now. Or was there last
yeah.
year?
So those Auburn teams, like their recipe was like stud game one guy, and then like mainly one position player, like CD. Even though
Mm-hmm.
nobody paid Sunday being what he was. The difference with this Auburn team is they're way more balanced, pitching wise, and their lineup 1 through 9.
They don't have they don't just wow you outside of Irish maybe, and Dutton, even like for being an ace, he's not like a Cade Anderson, Liam Doyle, Kyson Witherspoon kind of ace where he just like is 98 with the fastball and major league secondaries, and just you just are, your eyes are falling out of your head. But he's old and he's pitched a lot. And again, that Auburn bullpen, I bet if you took their top 5 or 6 arms, I bet you they have pitched more games than any other bullpen in the league across their careers. I mean, who else would be on that list?
I don't know. It's a good point. The thing with Auburn, where they struggled, I guess the past 2 years, especially last year, they were beat up, but like their guy who they thought was going to be their guy, Jacob Gonzalez, who was there at Auburn forever, like he could just never be healthy,
Oh, yeah, yeah.
like he was always hurt.
By the way, Deacon's right. Tanner Burns, I think, was a year or two after Mize.
Mm-hmm.
I remember him in 19. And what year was Mize drafted 1?
Let's look it up.
He's still pitching, but he's not really become what everyone had hoped.
He's 28. 2018 draft.
I didn't know Dutton had hit 95 this year. Did you know that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I've seen him in person here. Yeah.
Okay. I thought it was more 92, 93. I think when I've seen it was earlier in the year. So yeah, I may have shorted Dutton a little bit in that category. Didn't mean to.
Deacon J. Gonzalez is still at Auburn. Jeez, he's just taking a year.
Gonzalez, man, that guy was it 2 years ago? He was just elite, and he was just kind of a throwback, like a Greg Maddux type. Didn't give free passes, wasn't overpowering, but you just couldn't square him up. And then he just couldn't stay healthy, which was a shame.
They're saying Casey Mize is 6-1 this year in the show.
Oh, okay.
I knew he was with Detroit. He's been with Detroit since day one.
Yep.
I forgot he was 1-1 though.
Like, that was a quick ascension. You remember that? Like, nobody was talking about Casey Mize, and all of a sudden everybody was talking about Casey Mize, the way I remember it.
Yeah. But just think of all the good arms Butch has had over the years. Like, we were just touching on Stratton. That's a Butch guy.
Did he coach Dakota Hudson?
Butch, yeah.
Yeah. Who's still pitching in the bigs? Yeah. Keep Hayden says Tommy John his first full season, which was predictable. Like, in these guys that pop up and throwing 102, 103, you just have to figure it's coming.
Matter of time.
Arkansas with a little something going. Mississippi State with a little something going, potentially. Third base and 2 outs. Is there anybody that we didn't talk about earlier from these completed games? Man, I guess we didn't really talk Florida and Texas because that one was ending. I mean, Florida got all over Ruger Riojas. got 6 on him in the third of an inning, and then just kind of coasted.
Mm-hmm. When would you start to get worried about Texas's offense? I feel like 3 runs for them, it seems like a lot right now.
Let me see. Yeah, I mean the last couple weekends haven't been great.
That's what I'm saying. Josh was the
But
first
it's not awful either. So sorry. What do you think?
I think when it starts to be 3 weekends in a row, like you're looking at a trend in college baseball. Now, part of that is their injuries, part of it is where they played, but I don't like they just haven't been scoring runs. Like they'll get hit. They had 7. Randy says we good. Moving along.
I think Randy's right, but we'll see. Alfred sent us something on Baloo coming back today, saying still postseason. Of course,
Yeah,
is
Alfred
that
sent us.
back and like 100%, or is that back and maybe don't
Good
figure it
enough.
out till everyone's done?
Yeah. Well, what Alfred sent us was a video of Baloo like in practice. He was in a dry fit shirt and he was wearing shorts.
I want to do a national scoreboard check for just a minute because you got some other games that are going to impact SEC teams that are looking to host and such. So
Clemson and Florida State.
yeah, let's see. Ooh, Utah's beating Arizona. That would really. I think Arizona is a long shot prop. Well, I mean, I say that. Geography will play in its favor, maybe, but losing to Utah tonight, which is 18-25, would be a killer, and that's in Arizona. Okay, Florida State has come. They were down to Cal early. Is that a doubleheader? No, I guess not.
I don't know. I'm not sure.
They were down to Cal early, and that's out at Cal, so that would give Florida State another road win. I think Florida State is probably right now the ACC team that looks like the strongest bet to host. Oregon's beating Washington. That'd be a nice win for Oregon. Washington has got a decent RPI. Irvine is spanking Bakersfield. Irvine's in an unusual situation where not unusual, but it's playing a lot of crummy teams. And it's borderline host RPI, and it might be needing some rainouts because playing some of these games and winning might hurt more than they help. Okay, here's a big one. Kansas State beat West Virginia. That is good for SEC teams looking to host, and particularly for SEC teams looking to be national seeds. I don't think West Virginia deserves a national seed. Is probably not going to get it now. The Kansas State side of it is bad for A&M, potentially Mississippi State, Kentucky, because those are going to be the teams that could end up battling for that last bubble spot. Okay, UCLA came from behind and beat Illinois. That would have been kind of a bad loss. I think UCLA is hosting today if you pick the field.
I do too.
Yeah. And let's see. Troy got a win tonight. Troy's kind of a bubble team. Here's one that's interesting. Oregon State beat Iowa tonight. Oregon State may end up getting a national seed, probably a host. And Iowa's a team with just a weird resume. It's got a phenomenal Big Ten record, but I think it's lost twice. Like I was a team that would only get in because the Big Ten record is fantastic. The rest of the metrics aren't exactly outstanding. So that's one you're watching if you're bubble team. North Carolina State beat North Carolina. I think that's probably good for the SEC teams looking to host. I think UNC's going to host. I think the super regional is the part of it more where Carolina could be a problem. And Clemson finally got a win over Duke. Duke could end up being a bubble team too. And that probably gets Clemson. Not that Clemson had fallen out of the hosting mix, but that probably, keeps Clemson, in the safe range.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Clemson will definitely be a national seed along with Florida State. Those two I feel good about. West Coast teams, you're looking at Oregon State. UCLA will definitely host. And then I think it's going to be Irvine. I don't think they're going to give Oregon one just because I don't think they'll give 4 West Coast teams a regional.
I had an epiphany the other day. And I'm just going to try doing it this way. Because what we're always doing with hosting bids is saying, the committee's going to reward so-and-so if they win a conference title. They're going to put a host out west, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, what if I just ignore all that? Ignore what league a team is in and just line them up based on what they've done now? And if I did that, here's my 16 in order. And this would be heading into last night. And Auburn would probably move up a spot in this one. In fact, I'll just go ahead and give them Auburn, give them this one. But heading into today, this is how I would have done it in this order: Texas, Georgia, Arkansas, Auburn, Vanderbilt. So I would do top 5 just based on resume or SEC teams. Is that going to happen? Almost certainly not. But again, just taking the guesswork and just ranking them on what they've done. I would then go Florida State, North Carolina, LSU 6, 7, 8, Clemson 9, Tennessee 10, Alabama 11, Oregon State 12, followed by TCU, Coastal Carolina. I would have Ole Miss in that hosting discussion. That's one of the reasons I did it. I'm like, what if Ole Miss was in a lesser SEC? Would Ole Miss have a hosting resume? I think it would. And I had UCLA 16. Now again, we've had some teams that have played, a game or two since then, and that would change. But that's the way that I had it heading into yesterday. Or really tonight.
We got a couple good questions when you're reading all that.
Yeah.
Nick asked, if A&M drops the series to Mizzou, are they done for the postseason? Kiss it goodbye. You're looking at, you would have to sweep Georgia to remotely be considered. And then Josh with the super chat, Florida State gets the number 1 overall seed and loses a regional to Florida. I think 6 SEC teams are making Omaha this year. SEC pitching is so superior to any other conference. So
yeah,
again,
he might be right.
The stats for SEC teams, the last 8 years, there have been a minimum of 3 SEC teams to make Omaha.
Yeah. The SEC and the ACC are just dominating college baseball right now. And by the way, if you look at commits, like top 100 commits, that kind of thing for the draft, same story.
Yeah. Oh, look, The Athletic had a piece for the draft, I guess about a month ago. And guys, it was like 75% SEC.
Yeah. Just as Florida State could get a 1 overall, I don't know. See, Florida State's still got to get 4 of its last 6 just to be top 8 RPI. And that's top 8. That might mean 8. For whatever that's worth. Who's on for Ole Miss here?
Tress.
Who?
I quit watching it because State scored 2 in the.
They got
I'm
2
curious
when
to
I wasn't
see
looking.
SEC teams get in.
Come again?
Why? So we got a couple things. SEC teams get into regionals and play other conferences. I kind of think you're going to see what we saw in men's basketball this past season. So the league was so good in men's basketball that they were kind of built and prepared for those moments. So I really do think you're going to see the SEC play at a very high level.
Yeah.
The other one, why you keep picking ACC school over an SEC, given all the resources SEC. Fair point, but you do need to know like the top ACC schools, meaning like Florida State, Clemson, North Carolina, like facilities are good. I mean, it's just a preference. And also the number one question, NIL. What's your NIL package?
Yeah. I mean, weather's nice in most of those places. Although Tallahassee in June is brutal. I went to a super regional there once, and that was just goodness gracious. Whew.
I mean, they got like their baseball history. I know they haven't won the whole thing, but again, Mike Martin went to Omaha like 17, 18 times, whatever it is. So, like,
Yeah.
I mean, they got a very rich history.
Yeah. Josh is not a Jay Johnson fan. Have we noticed this?
Or Florida State fan, apparently.
Yeah. Josh said Clemson is not a guaranteed national seed. Are we calling national seeds 1 to 16 now? National seeds used to be 1 to 8, but I feel like they changed the naming.
I think like it. They did change it to 1 to 16 because that's what softball does, and it's easy to follow and it makes sense. Baseball forever did the 1 to 8, and I still think a lot of fans are stuck on the 1 to 8.
Yeah. I have the yips with it, so that's why I was asking. I think a top, well, again, you've got to mind read the committee, right? And that's why I just like to look at metrics and say, how does it line up? And if you're just going to say, let the resumes speak for what they do and don't try to rig it based on geography or conferences or whatever, what does it say? And I think, it's a league like I've never seen at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you literally have what? Maybe 9 teams still in the hosting discussion. I mean, for sure, it may be 10 or 11. Again, I think Florida's a long shot. I think Oklahoma's a long shot. But there's a world out there where one of those teams wins the SEC tournament. Get 16 wins in the conference, and here you go. That's another thing. I've been convinced most of the year that the conference tournament is not going to matter. Now I'm wondering, is that going to be a tiebreaker? Like, we got all these teams we can't figure out what to do with. And if you got an SEC team that wins the thing or gets to the final, or same with the ACC, do those teams get a boost? And you know what? They probably should.
I remember that series. That's a big reason why Ole Miss won the whole thing that year.
Yeah, Texas rated 38 times. That is amazing.
That is amazing. They're runner up 6 times. You got to remember, back in the day, it was different.
Yeah, the geography was really screwed up. Like you got a team from like every region of the country in there until when? When did they change that?
Well, then the format too. Like Skip cleaned up winning national championships, but like there weren't 2 sides of the bracket and then a best of 3 national championship series.
Yeah, I remember it was a 1 of 1.
Yeah.
For a while.
Yeah.
Okay, West Virginia, by the way, 23 in the RPI tonight. Now, again, I don't know if the committee is going to say they win the Big 12, that they get it just for that. But that's one where you just kept looking and going, the schedule has been just empty of good teams. And now they're 4-5 in quad 1 and 23 in the RPI. So I think they might have played themselves out of one.
Yeah. Can an ACC school compete with an SEC school NIL packages? I think Florida State can. Now Clemson cannot. I can tell you that right now. I don't know. Like I don't know what North Carolina NIL baseball package looks like, or NC State.
Maybe they get Belichick's girl to raise money for the baseball team. What do you think?
Man, did
You're not
I
going to touch
listen to that
one, are you?
Well, I'll tell you what. Pablo Torre had his podcast today, and he went all in on this. And he had 11 sources that have been around her, and like how she's been banned from the facility now on campus. I highly encourage everybody to listen to it. It's 50 minutes. It's fantastic.
So give me the timeline. And who is he? That's not. I don't like follow UNC beat writers. So give me the backstory there.
What like so Pablo Torre, like he worked for ESPN. He was a national guy, and now he has his own show. He's whatever's called Meadowlark Media, which is Dan Lebitard's media group. So he just picks like random things in sports and pop culture, and he takes a deep dive. And after that CBS story with Belichick and his girlfriend like made national news 2 weeks ago or whenever it was, he was like, okay, let me go all in on this. And he did. And he released the episode. It's either yesterday or today. And I listened to it, and let's just say it's fascinating because it is.
I saw people coming at him on Twitter today. I think what happened is he was too close to the truth, and somebody had to backtrack.
Mm-hmm.
Tennessee has 30 or more wins since 2020. Oh, 30 more wins since 2020. Yeah, that's crazy. I didn't see that. Thank you, Josh. One of my sports
the 2022 team's probably a big part of that.
Yeah, one of my sports regrets. Well, last year too, they won what? Did they win 60 last year? It's crazy.
Yeah.
Helps when you go into Omaha every year. But 2020, that's one of my bigger regrets. That would have been a fun year. Georgia, Vanderbilt, Ole Miss, Tennessee.
Yeah. Ole Miss had just beat Louisville, and Ole Miss was the #1 team in the country.
Randy said she's got a $9 million real estate portfolio. I wonder how that happened. I have thoughts. I will keep them to myself. I'll just say the question. I don't ever get into this stuff. I'm just fascinated with it. When she got asked the question, when he got asked, how did you meet? And she's in the background just like, no, That was a little creepy.
Yeah. The funny thing, it was in the New York Post. It's on the podcast I listened to today. Her mom's job, like what she does. She owns a sex shop and sex museum. in Provincetown, Massachusetts.
There are questions there that I will not
And
entertain.
Pablo sent somebody there to try to talk to her, and like
I can't do it. Sorry.
of course my internet's cutting it out.
Oh, his Ole Miss just short of the warning track. Okay. Ole Miss just about had a 3-run bomb to get within a run in the ninth.
How many outs are there?
1 away, men on the corners, 4-0 Mississippi State.
Boy, you got the chat fired up.
That's really not my game. For whatever reason, I couldn't resist on that one. Okay, we got Ben Davis on for State here. And I think Ole Miss is going to get a run on a sac fly, but it's down to its last out. Yeah.
Have I heard anything about the Mississippi State Open? First of all, Nick, where are you from? Like, who's your team, Nick? I think for Mississippi State, like we won't really know anything or like have like a top 2 or top 3 until we get to like conference tournament time, and especially when the season is over. I think it's going to move quickly, and their athletic director, Zach Selman, so like he wants to make a splash. So I think he's going to do anything in his power to hire a Power 4 head coach. So
yeah,
I think he's going to try to pull somebody from the ACC and not the SEC.
Sounds like you got something in mind. Oh, are you thinking Tom Walter?
Well,
yeah.
Josh just kind of put it out there. No, not saying that's like 100% accurate, but that's been the news that's out there.
Yeah.
Nick is a Texas man. Okay. I was just curious. Nick, I'm not dialed in at Mississippi State by any means, but obviously, you know, I have
Stanfield
family and friends and, you know, a little bit there.
Stanfield's doubled to lead off the bottom of the third for LSU. Okay, State is a pitch away from taking this one. I mean, a split for these teams is I think okay at this point for both of them. What do you think?
I mean, I would take it. So again, no game tomorrow in this series. They play again on Sunday. So you're looking at who do you feel better about pitching wise? Like the crowd's going to be great. It always is. I looked it up. Ole Miss has not won a series in Starkville since 2014 when Ole Miss went to Omaha.
Who do I feel better about? I don't have a strong opinion there. Do you?
Well, it's Mason Nichols, who's a Mississippi kid. I don't know what State has announced for Sunday, but I mean, I didn't have Evan Sierra striking out 15 tonight. Like I didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
So I mean, who knows? Like that place has been a house of horrors lately for Ole Miss.
Well, I mean, you can bring Morris back and McCausland back for Sunday, whereas Saturday might be a little trickier. So maybe the day off helps them in that regard.
Yeah.
Spitballing here. I would think the State's going Carson Ligon. Let me see if they're going him or they're just going to call it TBA.
That's what they've been doing the past like 4 to 5 weeks.
Yeah.
Mississippi State going to be battling A&M because Texas is going to be bonkers. State beat writer on 247 is saying Virginia's coach.
I'll believe that when I see it. But
which one is 247 at Mississippi State?
I think that's Steve Robertson. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Just wanted to ask.
Yeah.
And
Josh, look, before I say no way, like you never know what a guy's going through, and I'm not saying he's going through something, but could be crossways with the chancellor, or just want a different whatever. I would just be surprised if Brian O'Connor left Virginia. He's a legend there. It's a big change.
Here's what I would worry about if on Mississippi State, like, is O'Connor, like, is he using this to get whatever it is that he wants at Virginia? Like, the noise was pretty loud with him going to A&M, right? What hurt A&M was that was a super weird timing for them to make a hire. Like, it was after the national championship series, and then all that stuff went down. So O'Connor, I don't know how serious it was, but there were rumblings that, he did chat with A&M, and then they went the early route. Like, if you guys remember, like, early was announced at Texas, like, took headshots, everything was on the Texas website, and then A&M hired him. So all of that happened pretty quickly, but again, it was weird timing. So, like, I just think you're going to see State aim for the moon and just see what they get. What Quinn is saying, yeah, that's what Steve Robertson is putting out there. And again, it's kind of tricky. Like, Steve is reporting it; it's behind a paywall. Want to be fair to him and everything, sure. But I just know. I mean, who he's going to be high on anybody's list. O'Connor is. I mean, he's won a national championship. There's no scandals, like nothing like that. He's been at Virginia for like 20 years now.
Well, am I dreaming this? But did they not have NIL issues with basketball that drove their coach there out before the season? Well, or was it just he was sick of the constant, whatever churn?
Yeah, Tony Bennett. You just kind of, like, college athletics has changed a lot. I just kind of think Bennett kind of got burned out on it.
Yeah. How old was it? I mean, O'Connor's got to be pushing 60.
Are you looking it up?
I'm about to. He's been there forever.
I think like 05 or something was his first year.
I thought it was before that. I look up Brian O'Connor, I get Fast and the Furious.
Because that's Paul Walker's name.
And I even spelled it right too. Okay.
And then Josh asked about Tom Walter. Like, what would he look like if he got SEC resources?
Yeah, and that's an interesting place because Susan Wente is the chancellor there, and she was a nightmare at Vanderbilt. And the perception was she hated sports. Now, look, the scouting report on her was also she was afraid of her own shadow. So if there's and Wake's got some money in that alumni base, so that could be a self-preservation adapt thing, but I wouldn't want to work for her in a million years as a coach. So
yeah, O'Connor, he's 54. Josh says he wouldn't want to coach that age. Like, to me, 54 is not that old. Like, you can get a good decade out of that.
Sure. Well, I mean, who knows, right? I would think that coaching burnout is higher than it's ever been. I haven't seen it in baseball as much, but we've seen it in football and basketball.
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, it's just because of how much everything is changing, and it just seems like there's no rules.
Josh, I don't know if Susan Wente was the one that got Wake the pitching lab. I think that was before she was there, but I could be wrong.
Well, I'm assuming like Wake Forest and Tennessee, that might be a little touchy with the burn stuff.
Oh, yeah. Well,
but it
didn't
like
think of
that
that
move.
angle.
It worked out for both teams. Like Tennessee won the Natty, and then Burns ended up being what, a top 8 pick, whatever he was.
Yeah. Speaking of fits, Butch Thompson and Auburn. I like when his name popped up for State, like, it just, in my mind, does not make sense. No disrespect to State, but that's just been. I think that's a water meets its level situation. Like he's a great coach. That's a really, really good program, and it does not come with the expectations
And
that
I
you
mean,
get elsewhere. But he's been to Omaha a bunch. Not a bunch, but several times.
And he's got a good relationship with the athletic director, John Cohen.
Yeah, Quinn said what I was trying to say in a better way.
Mm-hmm. That's fair. And plus, like, at least up to this point, NIL wise, like the money for an individual player isn't what we're seeing this time around, like what we're seeing right now for men's basketball.
Yeah. Are you ready to wrap this up? We've been on almost 2 hours.
Let's do it.
Because if we stay on for LSU Arkansas, we'll be falling asleep on screen, and I don't want to do that. He says that's wasted. The pitching lab has been a very well publicized deal there. So, winners of the night. I think Auburn, probably just because Auburn's already taken 3 games.
I got one.
Okay.
Mizzou.
Well, yeah, of course. Okay. Arkansas has just hit a home run. Who was that? Tied the game. Cam Kojal, I think. Yep, that's Cam Kojal. So we're tied at 1. And what inning are we in? The 4th here? Yep. Tennessee was a big winner tonight. Got a game 1 in a rivalry series. You needed to get that one if you're Tennessee, the way it's gone at home. I mean, Florida's really putting itself in a good spot to do things
Definitely
that nobody had.
Florida.
Yeah. I mean, Florida's 16 RPI, 12-13 SEC. I think quad 1 record would get Florida 8-14. And 14-16 quads 1 and 2. I don't think that's a host. But hey, win a couple more at Texas and we'll talk.
Yeah.
Who am I missing? I'm not going to do medal stand tonight because frankly I'm too tired to think through it and I'll miss someone obvious.
Same.
Well, I mean I could. Doyle's probably your guy, although you could split that with Hunter Ensley because he saved Doyle's bacon on a ball that might have left the park, saved him 2 runs.
Sierra, what he just did.
Evan Sierra, good grief. Yeah, I mean, he struck out 15.
Yeah.
And did he go 8? 8 full?
Yep.
Yeah, I think I might even go that as your number 1. Because Ole Miss has got a lot more pop in that lineup than Vanderbilt. No offense to what Liam Doyle did, but that's a more challenging lineup to pitch to.
Before we go, let me answer Nick's question. Does a dual sport athlete like Jonah Williams get two NIL packages, one for football, the other for baseball? And for baseball, that's called a free ride because he's on a football scholarship. So baseball doesn't pay him a penny.
I think you get 10 years of eligibility for 5 for football and 5 for baseball. Is that how it goes now? Just take it to court? Yeah.
Probably.
Jonah Williams might have bigger aspirations than that, but what else do we miss? Oh, we didn't really talk Alabama Georgia at all, and I keep forgetting they're playing a doubleheader. So last I looked, Alabama had about a 3-run lead, but that's been eons ago. Okay, that's game 1. Georgia, which if you missed it, Georgia won that one 19-3. Yeah, game 2 is going much differently. Alabama's up 6-2. And how are we only in the top of the 5th there? Has that game been rain delayed? I think it has. Because I swear I checked this like 30 or 45 minutes ago, and Riley Quick was on 4 1/3 innings then. And that's where we are now. So Alabama, Georgia must be rain delayed. Which, honestly, he only thrown 67 pitches. That's not ideal if you're Alabama. Because Quick can give you, I think, 100.
Josh said,
yeah, delayed. Okay, and he wouldn't be coming back after a long delay. Georgia
they
will
would
just
probably
throw. Yeah. What's that?
Yeah, they'll pick that one up tomorrow.
Finley and Adams
it's
would be a good game
there,
3. Yeah. Did we miss anything else?
Josh asked a question. Do we know what the top guys in baseball are making compared to basketball and football? That is a fantastic question. I don't think anybody really knows the answer to it. I would just say I would be surprised if the top guys in college baseball make 7 figures.
I think a few probably do, but I mean, I know some making well into 6. Like if you're a really good starting pitcher, $500,000 is not off the table, I don't think. Fair?
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. Look at who turned, like a freshman that turned down millions upon millions of dollars in the draft.
Tyler Bell.
That's one. Schmidt.
Yeah, Schmidt was a little different. Well, I mean, Bell allegedly wanted to play at Kentucky too, and obviously he did. But Schmidt grew up, Jay Johnson told us, a half mile from the ballpark. So that's a little different. Bell was an Illinois kid.
I don't know. Like, I think about that too. But, I mean, who, like, we got softball players making $1 million now. So
really,
the top pitcher in college softball transferred from Stanford to Texas Tech because they paid her $1 million. Like that was announced.
By the way, I was going to remind people to rate our stuff on your podcast feeds, wherever you get them. We're trying to pick up our audio-only audience a little bit. Somebody dinged us, said, love the channel, but you don't talk women's sports. Well, I mean, we'd love to, but there's a few of us, and we're trying to be dialed in on the stuff we talk about. And that would dilute that. Well, one day we'll get there, I think. That's just not right now. We've said we're going to do the big 3 men's sports and leave it at that.
Pickens, yeah, Tennessee, like Josh, yeah, she's awesome. I know she set the record for hardest pitch ever in softball, but I'm telling, there's a reason why Texas Tech paid the pitcher from Stanford $1 million, like $1 million. Yeah. But Pickens is awesome. I mean, I'm not going to argue with you.
Here's a couple good. Curiel says getting over 700 wouldn't surprise me because Curiel was a pretty premium draft prospect a year ago. I don't remember if he would have been first round. Could have been an underslot deal maybe, but I know he was, he was a dude that you usually don't get to school from what I remember. And Ryan Prager was one. Prager turned down 7 figures from someone. I'll tell you who else did it a few years back was Judd Fabian. Remember that? Fabian turned down a bunch from the Dodgers, or did he eventually sign with the Dodgers? I don't remember.
I can't remember either.
Yeah.
It worked out for him, though.
Is Fabian still? I mean, I'm sure he's still. I don't even know what he's up to these days. I'm presuming he's still bouncing around the Dodgers system, but you better be a dude if you want to play there.
Orioles. He plays for the Orioles.
Okay. Goodness gracious.
Yeah, so here's the
Ethan
Texas
Fry
Tech
just got one out
pitcher.
for Texas, and that was all muscle. Did you see that?
Yeah. But listen to this. This is it on the Texas Tech softball pitcher. She's pitched 164 innings. She has 237 strikeouts. She's walked 30.
I don't follow softball. So
that's good.
I take it that's really good.
Her ERA is under 1.
You know my story. I think we've had this conversation. If it's not one of the 3 things I'm covering, are Major League Baseball, are the Titans when they're not wretched, which unfortunately is frequent these days, I'm just not. I mean, I make the joke all the time. You could, North Korea could have got nuked today, and there's a decent chance I wouldn't know.
Randy, I did see that, by the way. The money guy for Texas Tech, he's on that committee with Nick Saban to run college athletics.
If Gunnar Henderson had come to Auburn and said, and I don't think Gunnar Henderson was like a surefire first rounder, was he? Quinn might know. But yeah, that would be fun. Well, I guess he'd be done by now.
I don't know, James, but all I know is like that was public and they announced it that she makes $1 million.
Yeah. Josh, make up your mind. Is he the guard gnome or is he the midget? I do think LSU's got a pretty lucrative deal with the equipment companies, I have heard. Not reporting. There's somebody in the chat that would know better than I would, but.
Mm-hmm. Also, I've heard like coaches are kind of upset with Nike just because it's taken pretty long this season to get jerseys in.
Yeah. Is that a what's that all about?
I don't know, but do you remember what was it 2 years ago in Major League Baseball where
Oh yeah.
Like that was a big deal, and then it just kind of went away.
What does Oklahoma softball make?
She deserves every penny.
Yeah, they're are like of all the Division I sports, are they like the most dominant program of anybody in anything right now?
Right now, yeah.
Well, maybe not right now, but okay, or recently. Say roll right now and going back a few years.
So here,
I do know that much, Graham. I know they're good.
Yeah, off the top of my head, they've won 4 national championships. They just won the SEC in their first year in the SEC. Now they're not going to win the tournament, I don't think. Penn State volleyball won 3 national championships in a row. In like the in the early 2010s. But like to me, the most dominant, like nobody's going to beat what John Wooden did at UCLA.
Yeah, that was a little different though too. I
Yeah,
mean,
totally.
that's back
But
when they ruled the Pac-12 and you had to win your conference, and you had all kinds of phenomenal teams that couldn't make the tournament because of the way it was set up. But yeah, I mean, that's not going to be.
OU softball coach makes $2 million a year. Jeez, I'll tell you this: like OU, they have made the decision; they are going all in. Uh, Facility upgrades for baseball, softball. They just got the number one women's basketball player in the country. Like they paid her a lot of money. Penn
Yeah,
State wrestling.
depth of knowledge in the chat about these other sports is pretty deep.
That's a sport I know. That's one sport I've never broadcast in my life. Wrestling. I'll take your
Yeah.
word for it. When
Have you ever done Nebraska volleyball?
I'm trying to think. No, but I've done plenty of Big Ten schools. I've never done Nebraska. I want to though, just because they care about it so much.
Yeah, that's my wife's alma mater. It is a big stinking deal. Like those people, whatever they're good at, they really get into.
Mm-hmm. And Nick, I would disagree with you. OU going all in on everything but football. Like to me, they are going in on football now. They got a new offensive coordinator. They got a new quarterback. They brought in Nagy. Nagy was running the Senior Bowl. He's their general manager now.
Yeah.
They got the top running back portal. I'm not saying they're going to be good. I'm just telling you, like, it seems like they're going all in football and everything else.
Parting thoughts.
Last thing you got,
about fried at this point.
If what Quinn just said about Penn State wrestling is accurate, then that's your answer.
But like, how many programs have wrestling?
A lot. Like it's not a thing down here because no SEC team has it other than Missouri. Yeah. I mean, it's way more than you think.
I mean, are we talking hundreds at the D1 level, or are we talking dozens?
More than dozens. Hold on, let me Google it. 77.
Okay. See, part of that to me is I'm looking at like how many programs compete.
Mm-hmm. 77 is a good number. Like Ole Miss has rifle. There are fewer than 15 schools in the country that compete in rifle.
The one that always cracks me up is fishing.
Who has fishing?
Is that actually an NCAA sponsored sport like bass fishing? I know there's schools that have teams. Somebody in the chat is going to know this.
How do you get a scholarship to fishing? That would be incredible. That's not an NCAA sport.
Okay.
It'd be amazing if it was.
All right, let's do. I knew I was forgetting the pitching matchups tomorrow. By the way, Arkansas is now hitting doubles. Ryder Helfrich, I think that was, is just led off the top of the fifth. This LSU Arkansas game is flying along now that we're in it. Okay, so wrapping it up and looking ahead. Auburn has swept South Carolina. That's the only series that's over. Tennessee is up 1-0 on Vanderbilt. For tomorrow, Cody Bowker, Marcus Phillips, and then Sunday, Connor Fennell, TBD. Oklahoma, Kentucky. You got Cade Crossland, Nick McKay. That'll be a good one tomorrow, 11:30 Central. Kentucky with a 1-0 lead there. We will resume tomorrow. And two guys that weren't throwing as we left off in Tuscaloosa, I'm sure will take the hill tomorrow. And they're going Sunday on their game 3, right?
Yes.
Is that what we decided? Okay, they're going to, yeah. So they'll, well, I guess they'll go tomorrow. Or will they make that? No, you can't do 2 on Sunday, correct? I forget the rule there.
Yeah, you cannot play 2 on Sunday.
Okay. Missouri A&M, Sam Horn and Justin Lampkin, Gage Wood and Anthony Heinsohn tomorrow. That might be the one to watch. Liam Peterson and Luke Harrison in Austin, and Mason Nichols, Carson Ligon, but we said they're not playing tomorrow, correct? That one's Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
So tomorrow we've got what? Hopefully 1, 2. I guess I'm not going to count Alabama. Well, that'd be 3, finishing 3, 4, 5, 6. So we've got 6 games tomorrow, which is actually kind of nice.
That's plenty.
To watch a little bit more of everybody. Parting thoughts. Anything from you, man?
I'll start with Mizzou. Just happy for Mizzou. They get at least one. They avoid the offer. So congratulations to Missouri tonight. Still got a lot of good baseball left. Plenty up for grabs. Curious to see how Texas responds tomorrow.
Yeah. Yeah, I am too. I mean, and the problem is you're facing Liam Peterson, who's probably the least talked about, like, elite type arm in the league. And it's just because of how they started. But, like, he's a dude on par with most of the guys in the league when he's on.
He's missed time too. Like that hurt.
Peterson?
Yeah.
I've forgotten that. I mean, I know Clemente missed time. He didn't miss much. I mean, he's thrown 55 innings.
I think Peterson only missed 1 start.
Okay. Well, that's pretty impressive then if he's thrown 55 innings in that time. Yeah, I think you're right. He'd made 12 appearances coming into the weekend. And this is week 13. Well, so I guess, I don't know. Could have pitched out of the pen. I don't know. I don't care. That's how I really don't care. I know what I was going to say. Try this one on. A&M goes into the conference tournament with a lot of work to do, wins the whole thing. They've gone deep in that event before. Gosh, you know it's late when it's half full at LSU for this game. And Josh is right. I am running on fumes. Josh has watched me enough to know.
Josh is a real one, though. He's been with us, it feels like, from second one. So
Josh
appreciate
is great. I feel like Josh is with us, win or lose, rain or shine. I appreciate that about Josh. I don't even know where my head. Oh, it was my little theory I cooked up about A&M winning it in Hoover. But I mean, I could see it. And that's probably shouldn't count them out yet. I mean, look, they're still squarely in the RPI discussion anyway, in the range. It's not where you want to be, but it's in the ballpark. And I just don't think people are going to suddenly forget the talent, the fact that Caden Sorrell, who's first-round talent, missed, 6-7 weeks. And those are things that should be considered. But, I mean, they've got the thing to always look at, you know me, I'm looking pitching first. When you got those 3 dudes that can go deep in games, when we got Moss and Wilson that can give you big outings out of the pen, long outings, and like shutdown outings. Don't forget that one yet. Quinn is the biggest donor. That is indisputable, Quinn. I don't think anybody's arguing with that, but if they are, we will put that to rest. Quinn, congrats on your Tigers, man. Were you there today? I know you were there last night.
I thought he said he was there earlier.
Okay.
That was 2 hours ago, though.
Yeah.
My brain is fried too, guys.
Yeah. Josh, we're going to get there on football. Okay, we got a little different plan this year. Yeah, let's get out of here. We'll do one tomorrow. What are the game times?
The Warren Nolan website is thoroughly confused. So,
with times?
Yeah, I don't even know.
I'm going off the SEC. Okay, let's see. We've got. Okay. Vandy, Tennessee, 4 Central. Kentucky, 5:30 Central. We already decided Georgia, Alabama is probably not playing tomorrow. Could wrap up game 2. I don't know. I didn't check. Missouri A&M's afternoon. LSU, Arkansas is evening, 5:30. So I think we will probably. We may hit live around 8:30. We'll tweet it out. We'll let you know. You could, of course, also just sign up for the channel, enable your notifications, all that stuff. Yeah, Josh, I help with football. I've been doing all 3.
That's why he's a machine, Josh.
Yeah, that's why I'm also toast, because there really hasn't been like an off week since the last week of August last year. So we sleep in July, right? At least until we get to the MLB draft. And I'll do that just because I won't be able to help myself. So anyway, yeah, I'll quit rambling. Goodness gracious, 2 hours and 17 minutes. Where did it go? We'll probably wrap up LSU and Arkansas tomorrow night. We'll talk a little bit more about that series. I'm going to guess we're going to go around 8 Central tomorrow. Don't hold me to it. And probably the same time Sunday night. Don't forget, join the membership tier. We will do a shorter recap Sunday night and then more of a weekend recap. We may look at some NCAA tournament stuff, take your questions. That'll be members only things. So, yeah, going to start that. Going to start doing that across other sports. I think that'd be a nice little benefit to you. Yeah, we'll make it happen. Hope you guys are here. Thank you guys so much who've been here. Thank Quinn, Josh, and anybody else I left out. Thank you for the super chats. We really do appreciate those. Quinn, you've been on fire lately, man. You've been way too generous. All right, and I think we'll get Graham and Alfred back at some point this weekend. So when we do, you'll see them. Looking forward to having those guys on. For Graham Doty, I'm Chris Lee. God bless you. Have a great night. You've been watching our baseball content here at Southeastern 16.